Awesome. So, welcome to the TCAT 10-minute take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don, the legend, Adidas Chambers, and friend.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Wait. Yep. Wait. Yeah. There she is. Yeah.
There she is.
Yeah.
There she is.
The little.
Your neediest friend.
Oh, is she needy? Oh my goodness. This little dog, Cora, insanely needy, will not get off my lap.
Look at that face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. See? Yeah. But you have to deal with this for like 12 hours of just following you around, basically. Yeah. Good times.
Well, it's easy to watch movies with someone attached at the hip.
That's very true.
And that's what we do. So, hey, it works out. Because today we are talking about the hotly anticipated, been waiting for all year, dropped on HBO Max and in theaters simultaneously. We are talking about Denis Villeneuve's Dune. But before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe button and you click the bell to get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop. Now, as always, Mr. Chambers will go first. The spice must flow. Go.
Boom. All right. Dune. I do remember the David Lynch, I believe it was the 1984 Dune, starring Kyle McClanahan.
McLaughlin.
Is it McLaughlin?
Yeah.
God.
Trust.
Yeah. No, I believe you. I'm obviously just destroying that poor man's name. Yeah.
No relation to Rue McClanahan.
Yeah. I remember it, and I've actually kind of, looked up, clips of it and watching it, and I'm like, man, movies in general back in the 80s, I will say, were just different, They just, woo, they have a different feel. They have a different cinematic look to it. I mean, they were just different. And obviously, the special effects and all that, they look primitive by today's standards. So it's definitely going to look very dated, really dated. But just watching some of it, I was like, that year, 1984, we truly did not have enough in the cinema world to kind of bring the epicness of a Dune to life as it should. It's I don't know. Watching it, it almost felt a bit camp how it looked. It was they do so much talking, and everything is so bright, and they wear these weird, almost corny looking. It's 1984. You have to remember that. Okay, so this Dune. Denis Villeneuve with Timothée Chalamet. Rebecca Ferguson, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Stellan Skarsgård, Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem. I will say this: I didn't really remember the story when I first started watching, but as I did, I'm like, okay. I got caught. I was getting caught up, and the beauty of that was it was done without a whole lot of exposition. Like they kind of sort of really laid out and explained things in a very organic way, which I did appreciate. It wasn't like exposition heavy. It looks beautiful. God, it looks beautiful. I was watching and I said, whoever the costume designer, the prop master, the set people, holy hell, it's looks great, and the way it seamlessly works with whatever miniatures or VFX is used, I'm like, that is top notch. I mean, this movie was meant for IMAX. Absolutely. I saw it at home, HBO Max. I'm going to see this again, and I'm going to go for IMAX because even watching it on my 75-inch, I was like, holy, this is gorgeous stuff. It is absolutely meant for the theater. So that looks great. Oof, the acting is superb. I think the story was moving. It was very engaging. It was moving really well. I was really enjoying the whole thing. And at the end, which I probably should have, it should have registered, because at the very beginning, it says Dune Part 1. But I'm like, hey, this is almost a 3-hour movie. You know, maybe Part 2 will just show up in there. But then the movie ends at like a crucial moment. And I was like, wait, so I literally have to wait for a Part 2. And I was looking through the internets. I didn't see anything about when this is coming or if they even filmed the part. I mean, I didn't find any of that. And so now I'm like, okay, I just saw a pretty cool ass movie that had me engaged for 3 hours. And now it's done. And I'm like, when am I going to see the end of this? Like, when's the next part?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little hurt right now. I'm just like, wait, like, I hope the plan was to always do two. I mean, you could just give me the first part, just be like, hey, I hope it works, and we'll see. Please tell me there was always a plan for a part 2. Yeah, let me just say this. On our scale, this is an absolute opening night. Pay that premium ticket, pay that IMAX ticket, get your popcorn, get your drink. Visually stunning, great acting all around, great dialogue. The story is really engaging. The characters are great. Very diverse cast, which I like. I mean, it's even if you know nothing about the story Dune, I think this will grab you and hold you in there. I mean, on my personal scale, this is easily like a 8.5 to 9 movie. And I'm just saying that because this is the first part. I'd like to see this with the second part to get like sort of like the whole view. Because again, you walk out of this like I'm like it just left me off at this juncture, and I'm like, I need more to kind of give it a complete sort of scale. But I will say bravo to Mr. Villeneuve. Man, that was just the look of it. God, it is a beautiful, beautiful looking movie.
Yeah, this is, another one of these Warner Brothers missteps where he offered to film part 2
in
tandem. And they were like, nah, Chief, we'll just see how it goes. And so, because, I don't know, they just haven't, like the last 10 years of Warner Brothers and DC, like they've kind of been in a weird space. I mean, this isn't DC, right, but this is still kind of endemic of what's going on over there in general. Like they are scrambling and always feel like they're in a constant state of scrambling, and making, decisions, fear-based decisions, I guess, and not having confidence in their material. And so now we're forced to wait on this second part, which has been greenlit because part 1 did so well, and now they're going to start filming it. But that's going to push this back, at least a couple of years.
2024 at the earliest.
Won't see part 2 for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate and disappointing.
Damn.
I do agree with you. I think that it is a beautifully shot movie. Like it's just cinematic in the vistas, and then it's definitely worth a big screen viewing. The book is very heavily exposition and internal monologues, and just all these. And the David Lynch version of this had a
lot of that.
Had a lot of that in like this weird kind of off-putting whisper talk, where as a kid I remember watching Dune and being like, yeah, this is exactly what they were thinking, and I was like super into it. But it was, it was the 80s, whatever. 80s. Yeah. And so I mean, I guess I saw it in the 90s. I didn't see it in the 80s because that would be ridiculous. But just like in the crib watching Dune, like, what's up?
Yeah.
Who knows? But it was definitely a product of its time, but it had a certain flair to it that I have to admit I kind of a little bit missed. This movie felt as for its big open epicness, it did feel a tiny bit sterile to me. Where there was just like the fun.
Sterile,
I
how
mean, and it's
so?
not any sterile as in like, I don't know, everything is monochrome kind of. And I
Yeah,
get it, they're on this
yeah,
desert planet
yeah.
and everything looks the same. But when they flew that ornithopter over the rich spice beds, I was like, where? Like, how? What? Where? Spice? Where? Like, the spice looked exactly like the
Sand,
sand.
yeah.
And then when you got up close, you saw that it wasn't. And then when they're like, showing it, and it's this dark, rich reds
Mhm.
and ochres and sparkles and glitter, and I'm like, why couldn't we see that from above? Like, she's talking about rich spice beds,
Right.
and you can't see it, rich spice beds. It all was brown. This movie was very tan.
It was.
Everything about it was tan, and I did feel like there was some with the Harkonnens, the villainous Harkonnens. There was a little bit of the sadistic glee that was gone, that was missing, that was purged. Like, they were just about the money and the spice, and they cut out some of the more problematic issues that the Baron had that we really won't get into, with like his tastes and preferences and his more sadistic nature.
Mhm.
Preferences for killing, I mean. It's just like, it just felt kind of sterile. It didn't feel like, he didn't feel like a villain.
Oof.
That
I don't know about that.
No. That was having
Fun?
He definitely wasn't.
Mm.
It was just, it just felt like, I don't know, faceless
But
villain.
you don't think
like,
that
not
84 a
that's
Baron
too much.
was like,
I wish somewhere we could split the diff.
okay.
Like, I just wish there was just like a little bit more
Okay.
something behind his motivations other than just this just bland,
Mhm.
I'm in charge, I should always be in charge, our family's in charge, we should always be in charge. Yeah, I get that, but why?
But
like, there was just nothing.
do you think that part is coming in the
I don't know. Maybe.
but maybe in the who the I think the Sting character was like a nephew to the Baron.
Yeah, he's gonna hopefully be in part 2, because he plays a big part of the next bit of business.
Right.
That character, and so where they cut it was upsetting. I did love the casting choices. I liked that, Frank Herbert was definitely very much influenced by, these desert people in real life, and, Bedouins and North Africans, and to see people of color in this world on a different planet where it made no sense for there not to be. I did feel like the character of Shutout Mapes got a little bit the shaft. Like, there were just some characters that I kind of missed that were more, for a 3-hour movie that's only half the movie. I felt like we didn't get enough characters. It was, a lot of it was wasted in and I'm not saying wasted, but a lot of it was used to show the expanse of this world.
I mean, they spent a whole lot of time on like what was it, Caladan, like in the first part.
Yeah.
I mean, it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And maybe we didn't need to spend that much time there. And I know they're doing a series with the Bene Gesserit, so they didn't spend a whole lot of time there.
We didn't get much from that.
You don't get much of how powerful and integral these women are to politics and how, the fear of these women. Like, you don't really get the reverence and the fear of these women from everyone else. And I've seen people who reviewed this movie who never watched it and thought the Bene Gesserit were just part of the Atreides family. I was like, no, they got their fingers everywhere. They're part of every house, of every clan. They're everywhere. And you don't get the sense of that from just this part 1. So it's unfair, really, to, once we see part 2, to really see it as a complete thing. It's just Warner Brothers, I don't know what they were going to do. I mean, I guess if it didn't perform as well as they wanted it, this was going to be it, which is unfortunate, but
freaking Warner Brothers.
It's just, I wish obviously I wish we had all of it to talk about, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about the second half. I do think you're right. I do think it's worth a movie ticket, certainly worth a full price ticket. It's worth. I'm really torn on IMAX because it's worth seeing because of how cool everything is, but I don't know if it's worth that price
I don't
of that
know.
ticket.
There's some.
It just
There's some.
maybe if
Oof.
maybe if you got both part 1 and part 2 in a special IMAX showing,
Okay.
then I would change my tune. I'd be like, yeah, go see that shit in IMAX.
Okay.
Like, go see part 1 and part 2 together in IMAX. Right now, with just this thing, that's asking a lot. I think. I think that it's probably just worth a regular price nighttime movie ticket.
I thought the IMAX part was definitely when the Harkonnen invasion of the Atreides would have looked great on IMAX.
Yeah, it would.
That part for sure,
For sure, and the flying over the dunes and Duncan Idaho's flying
those couple scenes,
and all that stuff was super cool. Yeah. And even the scale of the sandworms, like like Dr. Kynes, like I really appreciated the change of that character. That character one and that character's end was badass, and I much more appreciated that to the unceremonious like version in the book and in the Lynch miniseries. I don't really remember very well the sci-fi miniseries. I've heard that it's like there was the most complete best. There
was an actual miniseries of it. I have to look that up.
Yeah, it came out in like the 2000s.
Oh,
like the early aughts. I don't remember it though, so obviously it wasn't that memorable. But yeah, it's worth a full price ticket. It's just I missed that. I've seen it twice already, and I must have missed that part 1 both times because the first time I saw it and we were getting on to 3 hours, I was like, "We're getting on to 3 hours, you guys. What's happening? What's happening?"
It didn't register like it goes Dune, and then I just see that part 1. But just something.
I must have been up getting a drink or like some movies do part 1 and then part 2.
That's what I'm saying.
In the movie,
and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe they're sort of doing it like chapter 1, chapter 2. So I'm thinking, well, it's almost 3 hours, so I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense. And I'm just not putting it together. It wasn't until I forget at some point. I think this was like right before the invasion, and I looked at the time. I'm like, wait a second, there's only 40 minutes left. I'm like, I'm like, hold on a second. Is this
the acting was great?
Yeah,
I mean, Timothée Chalamet. I feel like I do appreciate the direction of this because the way that it's written, makes it very hard to relate to Paul as a human, especially after he starts to awaken to his senses and he becomes less emotional and more of like a neutral mask character and less feeling, and having him be more human. And this is definitely chalked up to the performance, and the direction of it is more powerful, I think, and easier as an audience to get into and relate to. And Lady Jessica, having her have more emotion and less of that stoic, which it bothered me and it didn't. Like, having her have that almost visceral breakdown when he's going through the trials is powerful as a performance and as an audience, and you feel for her. But then also you're like, but would she be doing all that because she's been a Gesserit, and would she be able to like rein that in more? But if you're coming into this not knowing that and not having any of that backstory, that kind of, I feel like it's more helpful than not. I feel like I'd rather have it than not have it as a person watching a movie.
Right.
Because it's just very hard in movie format to not have that internal monologue. You have to have it presented this way.
Right.
And I think there were a lot of really great decisions that were made to making this movie, other than the decision not to make the whole thing.
I can't figure. The man says, "Hey, let's do it. Let's film both of them."
I mean, everybody's here.
Now, think of how much more it's about to cost them, because now they have to get all of them back. They have to figure out, okay, the locations they need, are they now going to be available? I'm like, oh my God, Warner Brothers.
Saving pennies, like spending dollars to save dimes. That's what they're doing. They're spending dollars to save dimes. But
you know what? Good for them. And then I hope too that, now granted, this new IATSE contract or whatever they've agreed to, from a lot of people that, I've been seeing, on the interwebs, aren't thrilled with it. So who knows what's really going to happen? Who knows if they deny it, go on strike again or whatever. But I have a feeling just on that realm, it's going to cost them more,
I will be so upset if they don't finish this.
It's typical Warner Brothers, though. I mean, they just go in without an idea of what they're doing, and then it's like, let's just see what happens.
I'll be so upset. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who are going to be really upset if they don't finish this.
Seriously.
But this is where we are. So
yeah. And I'm going to be upset, though, if you people out there don't hit that subscribe button and don't hit that bell to get notified when new content like these 10-minute takes are out here and put up on our YouTube channel. We've also got a website to make it even easier for you to see all the content there, tcatnetwork.com. We've got links to all of our stuff here on YouTube, all of our podcast links, as well as for Good Morning Antioch and the reading. It is all right there. We can't make it any easier unless we go inside your homes and press the buttons for you, which I think is breaking and entering and highly illegal. So we can't do that, unfortunately. So please.
Social media will be doing that too.
Exactly. Hit the buttons, subscribe, get notified, bookmark that website, tcatnetwork.com, so that way you always know, or you can always catch up on stuff that we put out there. Don't forget, definitely send us comments, send us your suggestions, so that way we can take a look at them, give you our thoughts, and, we just keep interacting and keep moving forward. So, on my hope that a part 2 is coming very soon, for myself, for Miss Stewart, till next time, see ya.